Have you ever experienced this? You take your pills every single day, follow the diet you were prescribed. You even inject your insulin without missing a dose, and yet that number on your glucose meter stays the same, or even goes up. Your A1C gets stuck at 8.5, at 8.9, and sometimes you don't even understand how, because you're doing everything right. Frustration becomes part of your daily routine, like brushing your teeth or turning on the coffee maker in the morning. It's that thought that follows you like a silent echo. Why isn't anything improving if I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do? And even if no one says it out loud, a suspicion starts eating away at you from the inside. Is my body no longer responding? Do I lack the willpower I need? Am I slowly giving up? Today I want you to pause for a second and breathe with me, because I'm about to say something very few people say out loud. But once you truly understand it, it changes everything. It's not your fault. I'll say it again. It's not your fault. There's a very real chance you're fighting with the wrong tools. It's like being handed a hammer to fix an engine. No matter how hard you hit it, it's still the wrong tool. And that's why today I want to talk to you about something no one mentions during a rush 15-minute doctor's appointment. Something that goes unnoticed in routine blood tests, something that could be silently sabotaging your health from the inside without you even knowing it. 3 minerals. 3 essential nutrients that, especially if you're over 60, could be the missing silent key in your daily battle against high blood sugar. And the most surprising part is that we're not talking about magic solutions, miracle products, or empty promises. We're talking about science, basic biochemistry, how your body actually works. But before I tell you what those 3 minerals are, you need to understand something very important. After age 60, your body no longer absorbs or retains nutrients the same way it used to. Your intestines become less efficient, your kidneys flush out key minerals through urine, and many of the medications you take interfere with absorption, without anyone ever telling you. So it's not just that you might not be taking the right minerals, it's that your body's already at a disadvantage before you even start. That's why if you're feeling identified with this, if some part of you feels like this story is also your story, I invite you to say it in the comments. I'm here. Because the first step to changing your health isn't a new pill. It's knowing you're not alone, that your experience makes sense, and that there is something you can do. Now let's talk about the first of these 3 minerals. This one is so important that if you corrected only this deficiency, you could already begin to see a noticeable improvement in your blood sugar. I'm talking about vitamin D3. No, it's not just for your bones like you were told. Vitamin D3 is actually a powerful hormone that acts like the conductor of an orchestra for more than 1,000 genes in your body. And do you know one of its main commands? To manufacture glucose transporters that allow glucose to enter your muscle cells. Think of it like this. Insulin is the key, but vitamin D3 is what orders the construction of functional locks. Without enough vitamin D3, no matter how much insulin you have, natural or injected, the door simply won't open. And do you know what the worst part is? More than 80% of older adults have low vitamin D3 levels, and no one ever checks them. A 2023 meta-analysis reviewing over 40 clinical studies concluded that supplementing with 1,000 to 4,000 IU of vitamin D3 per day can reduce A1C by up to 0.32 points and lower fasting glucose by about 10 milligrams per deciliter. And that's without changing diet, without extreme exercise, just by correcting an invisible deficiency. I see it all the time in real life. Older adults who manage to raise their 25-hydroxy vitamin D levels above 40 nanograms per milliliter experience more energy, less fatigue, less insulin resistance, and for the first time in years, that stubborn number on the glucose meter finally starts to come down. But wait, before you run to the store, let me ask you something. Do you know how much vitamin D3 you actually need, considering your age, your current levels, and the medications you take? Because this is where most people get it wrong. Supplementation isn't magic, it's strategy. And that's why in just a few minutes, I'm going to explain exactly how to use each of these 3 minerals with precision. But let's continue, because D3 doesn't work alone. It needs a bodyguard, a protector, someone to put out the internal fires that high blood sugar leaves behind. That's the second key mineral, vitamin E, specifically in its active form, alpha tocopherol. Why is it so important? Because diabetes isn't just a blood sugar problem. It's also an oxidative stress problem. It's like having a constant, low-grade fire burning inside your blood vessels, slowly damaging your nerves, your kidneys, your eyes. Vitamin E is the elite firefighting squad. It embeds itself directly into your cell membranes and protects them from free radical damage. This not only helps prevent long-term complications, it also improves your cell's ability to function properly in the presence of insulin. And now imagine this. You have the key, insulin. You have the freshly lubricated lock, thanks to D3. But if the environment is full of smoke, fire, and chaos, none of it matters. Vitamin E is what allows the whole system to function in a clean environment. And if you don't have enough of it, that glucose, which finally made it into your cells, ends up damaging the very tissue it was supposed to fuel. That's how important it is. Are you still with me? If this is clicking for you, if something inside you is saying, this actually makes sense, write yes in the comments. Because what comes next is the muscle of the operation, the executor, the one that gets the job done. And that's the third hero today, magnesium. The most ignored mineral and paradoxically, one of the most powerful. Magnesium is required for more than 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, but for our purposes today, its main role is this, allowing the insulin signal to translate into action inside your cells. Simply put, insulin opens the door, but magnesium is the one that grabs the glucose and pulls it inside. And if there isn't enough magnesium, the door may be open, but nobody walks in. The result? High blood sugar, fatigue, muscle cramps, anxiety, poor sleep. And here's the truth. More than 70% of diabetics over 60 are magnesium deficient, often without knowing it. Metformin, omeprazole, diuretics, all of them contribute to this silent loss. So how do you fix it? What type of magnesium should you take? What dose? What time of day? With which other supplements? All of that is coming next. But first, I want to know something. Are you ready to take control? Are you willing to stop fighting with broken tools and start working with what your body actually needs? If so, tell me below. And get ready, because in the next part, I'm going to guide you step by step to build your personalized protocol based on your age, your symptoms, and your current levels. This isn't generic. This is for you. Now that you know the three silent heroes of your health, vitamin D3, vitamin E, and magnesium, it's time to move from information to action. Because as I said before, understanding is only 50% of the journey. The other 50%, the part that separates mediocre results from transformational ones, is precise execution. And that starts with one basic rule. This is not about taking just any supplement from any brand at any time of day. That's like trying to cure a headache with an expired aspirin without knowing what caused the pain in the first place. The first smart decision you need to make is choosing the correct form of each mineral. Not all forms are absorbed the same way, and some can even cause unwanted side effects in older adults. Let's start with vitamin D3. The form you should look for is cholecalciferol, which is the active bioavailable version. And here's something very few people tell you. If you take more than 2,000 IU per day, you should pair D3 with vitamin K2, especially the MK7 form, to prevent calcium from depositing in your arteries instead of your bones. K2 acts like a traffic light. It tells calcium where to go and where not to go. That's why D3 and K2 are a non-negotiable pair, especially if you're over 60 or have cardiovascular concerns. As for dosage, it depends on your current levels. If you've never tested your 25-hydroxy vitamin D, you can start safely with 2,000 to 4,000 IU per day. But ideally, you should get a simple blood test and adjust until you reach an optimal range between 40 and 60 nanograms per milliliter. Remember, not more, not less. And most importantly, always take it with a meal that contains healthy fats, avocado, nuts, olive oil, because D3 is fat soluble and absorbs much better that way. Now let's talk about vitamin E. This is another area full of traps. Avoid supplements labeled synthetic vitamin E or those using D-L-alpha tocopherol. That small L makes all the difference. It means a synthetic form, which is far less effective. You want D-alpha tocopherol, the natural and more potent form. Even better if it includes tocotrienols, which provide broader antioxidant protection. The appropriate dose is usually between 200 and 400 IU per day for older adults. But, and this is crucial, if you take blood thinners like warfarin or daily aspirin, you must talk to your doctor first because vitamin E can also affect blood clotting. The best time to take it is together with D3 at breakfast or lunch to take advantage of fat digestion. And finally, the third pillar, magnesium. This is where confusion really reigns. There are at least 7 different forms of magnesium on the market, and not all of them serve the same purpose. Magnesium oxide is the cheapest and least absorbable, and it can cause diarrhea. Magnesium chloride absorbs well, but can be harsh on sensitive stomachs. If you're looking for relaxation and high absorption, magnesium glycinate is one of the best options. It's gentle, well-tolerated, and supports the nervous system. If constipation is an issue, magnesium citrate can help on 2 fronts, improving insulin sensitivity and regulating bowel movements. The effective dose is usually between 250 and 400 milligrams per day, divided into 2 doses, one with dinner and one before bed. This also improves deep sleep, which directly affects morning blood sugar levels. Now here's one of the most common mistakes I see over and over again. People buying an all-in-one multivitamin and thinking that covers everything. Let me be clear, those complete supplements usually contain tiny amounts of the nutrients you actually need. There's a huge difference between 40 IU of vitamin D and 2000, between 20 milligrams of magnesium and the 400 milligrams that actually makes a difference. Don't fall into the convenience trap. If you truly want results, you need to focus on 3 specific supplements in the right form, at the right dose, and at the right time. Because in health, just like in life, the details matter. And that brings me to what I call the base protocol for older adults with elevated blood sugar. It's simple but powerful. D3 plus K2 in the morning with a fat-containing meal, vitamin E with that same meal, magnesium glycinate at dinner and before bed. Optional, a well-formulated B complex, especially if you take metformin, since this medication depletes vitamin B12 over time. And here's a tip that will save you frustration. Don't expect miracles in 3 days. This is a process. Metabolic regeneration takes time. Give your body at least 6 to 8 weeks to begin noticing real changes. More energy, fewer glucose spikes, better sleep, fewer cramps, clearer thinking. And if you can measure your fasting glucose and A1C before and after, you'll have concrete proof of progress. This isn't magic, it's applied human physiology. And now I want to speak to you directly. If you've made it this far, if you're watching or listening closely, it's not by accident. You're looking for answers. You're tired of doing everything right and seeing nothing improve. You're fed up with prescriptions without explanations. You're ready for a higher level of awareness about your body. And what I want you to know is this: change is possible, but it won't come from a miracle pill. It will come from you, from your decision to take control, to learn, to apply, to adjust, to improve. It doesn't matter if you're 60, 70, or 80. Your body still has the capacity to heal if you give it what it truly needs. And those 3 minerals I shared today are just the beginning. There are more tools, more strategies, more paths. But this is the first step. So tell me, are you ready to start? If you are, let me know in the comments with a yes. And if you know someone older who's fighting the same battle, share this video. What you learned today might be exactly what they need to change their life. And remember this, your health is not doomed. Your blood sugar is not out of control. You were just missing the tools, now you have them. What you do with them is up to you.